Hey, truth seekers, welcome back. Zach here. It's April 14th, 2017. One of the leading news headlines today, Joseph Jakubowski, the man wanted by authorities for threatening the president, was arrested today in Wisconsin, the same state where he made his threats. We're going to get to this news story. It is contrived propaganda put out by our government, by our media. Just in case you haven't heard about this story, let me take you through it. But first, what you should know is he supposedly, on April 4th, 10 days ago, robbed Armageddon Guns. You know, that's what they keep saying in the story. The man who robbed Armageddon Guns, who wrote the manifesto, who threatened the president, he's now been arrested. I just want to go over the definition of Armageddon so you see its Israel connection. Armageddon, in the New Testament, that's the Christian portion of the Bible, the last battle between good and evil before the day of judgment. This takes place in Revelation, the 66th book of the Bible. It's also a biblical hill, an archaeological site in the south present-day location of Haifa, Israel. You might recall the wildfire in Haifa on Thanksgiving for the United States, and then right after that there was the fire that broke out in Tennessee. Go back and see my work on those fires if you have not. They are interrelated. They found a Bible page supposedly in Tennessee that survived at Dolly Parton's ranch that was about a biblical fire in Israel. The fires happened at the same time. That story went back to Haifa, fire, destruction, Armageddon. This man in Wisconsin robbing Armageddon supplies. And I'll show you the link between Wisconsin and Israel in the language of gematria before we finish. But again, the place where the last battle between good and evil will be fought. It's interesting that this story comes out of Wisconsin because Wisconsin was the state where once it was called for Trump, the election went to him. You know, they say Wisconsin was the deciding state for Trump. Pennsylvania going towards Trump was a huge step in that process. Wisconsin was the nail in the coffin. When the media called it Wisconsin for Trump, they called the election for Trump. So, let's now get to this story starting April 4th, April 14th. You know, with regards to April 4th, we can just make the Wisconsin-Israel point right now. Wisconsin has this gematria 44, just like Israel. And we're talking about Armageddon, destruction, the holy war before the return of Jesus Christ. That's how the Bible concludes. I just want to show you the overlap between the word soldier. Notice the gematria of 44 as well as 82. And the slight parallel to Armageddon. You know, this man Joseph Jakubowski was supposed to be this revolutionary soldier. In the recording he sent the media, which has been shown to us, which I showed in the video I put out earlier, you know, he says, the time for revolution is now. With regards to the gematria of 188, add up your dollar bills. 1 plus 2 plus 5 plus 10 plus 20 plus 50 plus 100. It sums to 188. Number coded next to the Trump campaign all year, 188. Go back and see how many times it documented 188 next to Trump. Bavarian Illuminati, 188. Armageddon, 188. Freemasonry. They own and operate our government and media, and they have their fingerprints all over the Bible, the English language, and more. So, here's the reporting. The man accused of robbing a Wisconsin gun shop and mailing a manifesto to President Donald Trump was captured Friday after a 10-day manhunt, the Rock County Sheriff's Office said. Joseph A. Jakubowski, 32, was apprehended before 6 a.m. at a campsite in Vernon County, Wisconsin. Remember that location, Vernon County, Wisconsin, has a lot to do with today, the 104th day of the year, 10-4 over and out, the Sheriff's Office said. He was taken into custody without incident and is in the process of being returned to Rock County for further investigation and charges. So the story began April 4th, and it ends today, April 14th. April 4th can be written 4/4 in most parts. April 14th is written 14/4. Remember, when you write out 44, and when you write out April 4th, they both sum to 144, the number that represents time. Very special number connected to time, often also connected to death, destruction. Here's a story of a threat of death against the president, which has a major overlap with the first presidential assassination in history. In our history books, that was Abraham Lincoln. And if you go back and look up Abraham Lincoln in his journals, supposedly on April 4th, 1865, he recorded that he dreamt of being assassinated on April 4th, on 4/4. You know, Martin Luther King Jr. would later be assassinated on that date. The first president to die in office was William Henry Harrison, the 9th president, who died 1 month into his term on April 4th. The word kill equals 44. Anyhow, Lincoln supposedly dreamt on April 4th he'd be assassinated. He was shot 10 days later, April 14th, late in the evening, by an actor at a theater in Washington, D.C. on the 77th Meridian. He would die early the next morning, but the assassination attempt came April 14th, 10 days after his dream. And here's a man who was going to assassinate the president who's caught 10 days later. Now look at this. 44, 144, April 4th, 144, our number that represents time. We talk a lot about this number. If you write out 10 days later, it sums to 144. You see? 10 days later, he's caught, April 4th to April 14th. Remember, this number is very special to this nation. The United States of America equals 144. The word corporation equals 144, and that's what this nation is. This nation is a military corporation for agenda, for Zionist, Masonic, Jewish world domination. That's the only reason for the United States of America. That's all it's ever been about. Genocide of the native people. You know, we're talking about 44. Genocide, 44. Military, 44. You know, a military genocide of the native people. Kill, 44. Israel, you know, the prophecy, the man-made ongoing prophecy. Should mention that the word prophet has gematria of 44. But all of this is for a reason. The United States of America was founded as the Jewish military state, and it's been used as that ever since. World wars, you know, again, genocide of the native people, helping establish Israel. These numbers are very important to the gang. You read Revelation, the book about Armageddon, they mention uniting the 144,000 tribes of Israel. Also, with regards to the state this took place in, Wisconsin, one of two states that has a gematria of 44, the other is Georgia. For you football fans, NFC Championship, the team from Georgia beat the team from Wisconsin with 44 points. And if you watch my video from more than a year before it happened, I said why front runners to be in the Super Bowl from the NFC were the Falcons and the Packers, and why it was all about 44. The Super Bowl was on a date with 44 numerology, Super Bowl 51. Trump is also the 45th president. Remember, Holy Bible equals 45. In Revelation, the book of Armageddon, it's the trumpets that are the warning. Think about the Trump-Pence ticket. Mike Pence equals 45 like Holy Bible. Trump the 45th president. But Trump is only the 44th person to be president. And Wisconsin called it for him. Wisconsin 44. You know, number of death and killing. Major riddle here with the assassination of Lincoln and Joseph Jakubowski. So they say Joseph burned up his car. That comes from Sheriff Spoden. You know, this sheriff that's told the story in the media the whole time. Sheriff Spoden, 144. If you guys want to learn more about 144, see my work on the recent sarin gas attack, 144, on April 4th. So anyhow, they referred to this man being responsible for burglary of Armageddon Guns. Come back up to our top headline, burglary suspect. They said he was busted in Vernon County, Wisconsin. Today's April 14th, the 104th day of the year, 10-4 message received. Burglary 104. Vernon County, Wisconsin, 104. And you're looking at the face of someone who was burglarized by this Freemasonic network, by the numbers, as a mocking towards me, you know. This isn't the first burglary story by the numbers, and I'm sure there's been many more. Anyone who's ever messed with this Freemasonic gang, You know, they've dealt with the wrath by the numbers. Everything this gang does is ritualistic. Vernon County, Wisconsin, where he was arrested. Gematria of 104. I call that the Holy Jumpin' Jerusalem number. Our date of establishment, July 4th, 1776, date with 104 numerology. You know, show you something here about this nation and Jerusalem. Our date of establishment corresponds with the word. Notice also 139. Freemasonry is based in Jewish history. Freemasonry has gematria of 139 like Jerusalem. America, very much a Jewish state. America, 139. Jewish state, 139. You see how it all comes together? Again, I want you to see Jerusalem real quick. Jerusalem, 58. Freemasonry, based in the history of Solomon's Temple, which goes back to ancient Israel. Jerusalem, Solomon's Temple, 58. Again, Freemasonry, 58. Secret Society, 58. Annuit Coeptus, 58. We're talking about Lincoln. Lincoln was killed in Ford's Theater. Ford's Theater, 58. By the way, well, before I show you this part about Ford's Theater, if you don't know, 223 weeks, the word Masonic's 223 in Jewish gematria, 223 weeks before Lincoln's passing, there was no assassination attempt at the Willard Hotel on February 23rd. Willard Hotel, 58. Lincoln before the war, and notice also the 139, just like Ford's Theater. You see it? Same numbers. Freemasonry. Lincoln had an assassination attempt at Willard Hotel and Ford's Theater. The Willard Hotel was before the Civil War. The Ford's Theater was at the end. This story about a man who wants to assassinate the president taking place on the same dates, you know, that pertain to Lincoln's death. Let's see. I think there was another point I wanted to make, but it's all right. I've made it before in other videos. Just go back and watch. It'll all come up in time. I want to point out that Vernon County, Wisconsin also has gematria of 311, the reflection of 113, another very special number to Freemasonry. 311 is the 64th prime. Understand all of this ongoing propaganda is about building the police state around us, you know, using us for the ongoing agenda, keeping us intimidated, taking away our rights. All of these stories are part of that ongoing narrative. And it is, again, a Jewish Masonic agenda. It's not to say it's the agenda of all Freemasons or all Jewish people, but all Jewish people and all Freemasons are a part of this agenda, whether they realize it or not. And so are all the people of this world, because we're all sharing this earth together. And those of us, you know, living, we're the victims of this. We're the victims of this ongoing propaganda, fear-mongering, war-mongering. Anyway, 311, the 64th prime number. Israel, 64. Zion, Zionism is Israel. Zion, 64. Thelema equals 64. Thelema is an occult religion that worships 93. Israel was drawn up on September 3rd. Everything about Israel is 93 from beginning to present. 93 represents Saturn, the keeper of time. They tell us the sun's 93 million miles away. It's also a number that gets coded into Zionist propaganda all the time. This man's name, Joseph Jakubowski, 93. They said he was extremely dangerous, 93. Propaganda, 93, you know? How it all comes together. Thelema worships 93. You see? It's all intertwined. It's all occult esoteric knowledge. Also, if you just take Vernon County, it has gematria of 60. The name Joseph Jakubowski also has gematria of 60. Police 60, order 60. This whole thing is contrived by your police, which is controlled by Freemasonry, just like your media and government. It's Freemasons putting on the show, the theater show, duping us out. And with regards to theater, that's what I wanted to tell you. Washington, D.C. is on the 77th meridian. The word theater equals 77, as well as 32. One of the first things Obama did as president was reopened Ford's Theater, which had been closed, completely shut down since 1977 in Washington, D.C. on the 77th meridian. He opened it in 2009, 32 years later. And look, America 32, Jerusalem 32. Think about how we're a nation that loves to be entertained, sitcoms, movies, and who's producing all these? Jewish people, you know, keeping us pacified to their ongoing agenda. And everything being done ritualistically by the numbers. The same numbers. Again and again and again. I want to send a little shout out to Polarization Nation. He keeps making silly videos attacking me. But you know what? Even if Polarization Nation, I mean his name is Polarization, even if that guy is a shill, I don't care so much about how he tries to slander me with his baseless attacks. I also don't like that he puts out all this purposeful fear porn. But if you watch that guy's videos and just ignore all of his fear-mongering, he makes these crazy predictions which never happen. He also says a lot of stupid things that are irrelevant, but what he shows you about some things, especially the number 10-4, I notice he's real big on 10-4. He's absolutely right about 10-4, you know? That's your Zionists always, you know, coding, you know, putting their stamp on it. That's our propaganda. We got the goy again, over and out. So Polarization Nation, you know, quit with all the silliness and the stuff that makes you look like a fool. Why don't you just be legitimate? I like that Polarization Nation guy because he knows how to make a video. If I had video making skills like he did, you know, my work would reach a lot more people. If that guy would continue making videos with his skills and incorporate my knowledge, that's also something he whines about in his videos. He whines about how we started at the same time and I have 5 times as many subscribers as him. Dude, the reason I have 5 times as many subscribers as you is because my content's at least 5 times better. And guess what? You can make your content as good as mine. You can put out the same knowledge because I've always encouraged people to. I don't want credit. I just want people to know what's going on in the world. So instead of being a hater, you know, share the knowledge. But down below in the description, I'll link the first video I put out on this. There's some other information I want to share with you that I didn't cover in this video. I can't believe I've made all these... Truth Seeker, this is why my book's not getting done. Because, you know, I sometimes just when I look, I'm like, oh my God, I made all these videos in 4 days. And the thing about all these videos is they're all essential. I want to make even more. People need to know this information. There's so much propaganda right now. The word has to get out on the symbolism going on, the agenda going on, what's being done to us. I got to get the book out too, and I am working on the book also, but, you know, there's just so much to keep up with. So anyway, be sure to subscribe here. Be sure to watch the videos, and don't be afraid to go back through my videos. Every book I'll ever make will be a keeper too, but every video I've made to date's been a keeper, and it's worth going back and watching my earliest videos, especially if you're new here, because when I began, it was a lot more simple. Simple concepts, easy to understand. I've been doing this for almost 4 years, so my knowledge has evolved, and now with each video, I just got to pour so much of that information into it. Otherwise, I feel like I'm shortchanging the viewer. So, you know, don't believe the hype, Truth Seeker. The media, it's all hype. It's all propaganda. Keep your children out of the military-industrial complex and everything will be fine, you know. If they ever come to draft us all, that's when we need to band together and say, no, 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 no. We're not mercenaries for your illegal New World Order wars. All right, until next time.